Hi, welcome to the 11th episode of Unity Game Development for Complete Beginner series. In the previous episode, we will learn about colliders in Unity. In this episode, we will learn about canvas in Unity. The canvas is the area that all UI elements should be inside. The canvas is a game object with a canvas component on it, and all the UI elements must be children of such a canvas. That is the place where we place all of our text, buttons, images of our game. A canvas is used in both 2D and 3D games so that we can interact with our game through buttons and get output from game through images and text. The canvas area is shown as a rectangle in the scene view. This makes it easy to position UI elements without needing to have the game view visible at all times. In order to create a canvas, right-click on the hierarchy and select UI Canvas. Now, if we want to add a text element in our screen, we will select the canvas first and then right-click on it and then go to UI Text and it will create a new text element for you. Similarly, you can create a button. UI elements in the canvas are drawn in the same order they appear in the hierarchy. The first child is drawn first, the second child next, and so on. Two UI elements overlap, the later one will appear on the top of the earlier one. Reposition these elements. Select your canvas inside Inspector. In the Canvas Scaler, select UI Scale Mode to scale with screen size, and from here you can select the dimensions of your screen. This is a good practice to do when you are working specifically on mobile games to scale the game UI elements according to the screen size of every mobile. We have multiple components that we can use with this canvas, but in this tutorial we will just stick to the panel, image, text, and buttons. The panel acts as a container for all the other UI elements. It is a good practice to create a panel, especially when you are creating a menu. All the other components will be the children of the panel. But it is not a must. UI can work perfectly fine without a panel. It helps in grouping multiple UI elements together and prevents them from intermingling. An example of that can be different components of a menu on a screen. You can add an image to the panel. You can also change its color and opacity from the inspector. Unity's built-in text UI is a great starting point for learners to get into designing UI. It can be used for showing text on the screen, for example, showing score of the player on the screen. Inside the inspector of our text element, first we have a rect transform which contains information about its position, scale, and rotation. You can change these to see the changes. It is recommended to modify the width and height of the UI elements instead of changing its scale. Both of these are working with the scale of UI element but in a different way. Next, we have text component. Here we can modify our text. Then we have font. We can import our own fonts in Unity and drop them here, but the default one is already here. Then we can change the font style. Then we have font size. You can also align your text. You can click on Best Fit to let your text align itself with the width and height. You can also change the color of your text. Button component is used to interact with the game. It also has a rect transform similar to the text element. After that, it has an image component so that we can change the image of your button. You can also change the color of your button from here. After that, we have button component that is used for events when the button is pressed. If we expand our button, we can see a text element as a child of our button object. This text is used to write text inside our button. We can also delete it if you don't need it. The image UI element is used to add images to our UI. It has a rect component and an image component, same as our button component. You can drag and drop an image here. You can also change the color of the image. If you click on Preserve Aspect, it will maintain the dimensions of your image, and the Set Native Size will set the image to its actual size. That was all for this episode. In the next episode, we will make a small game to practice all these things that we have learned so far.